Hi guys, I'm Nash and today we're going to be doing the Cerebral Palsy tag. This tag was created by Clarissa over at the YouTube channel. It's Clarissa's Life and I will be leaving the link down in the description below. You can consider this video a preamble to a series that I have been meaning to do for a while called CP Talks, in which I plan to talk more about my disability, how it affects me, and touch on some of the topics that will be briefly mentioned here with the guide questions. So to start us off, I will be looking down at my notes. And the first one says, what kind of cerebral palsy do you have? The type that I have is specifically called spastic diplegia cerebral palsy. It is apparently one of the most common ones, and what that means is that it affects my hips and my legs more than my hands. So I walk very awkwardly and need assistance in order to do so a lot of the time. Number 2, how did you get cerebral palsy? There are a few ways in which you can end up having this disability, but my story in specific is that when I was born, I came out of my mother's womb with my umbilical cord literally choking me, and the lack of oxygen that the umbilical cord strangling me caused resulted in brain damage that ended up messing with the motor part of the brain, and so I ended up with this disability. Number 3, how did you feel about cerebral palsy growing up? To be perfectly transparent, I just saw it as a big inconvenience, as a nuisance. I was always fighting with myself, putting myself down. It's not until now that I am an adult that I am learning to handle it much better, and I'm not at war with myself 24/7 over what I can't do instead of focusing more on what I actually can. Number 4, how has CP impacted your life, both in a good way and in a bad way? I feel like one positive thing for sure that CP has done for me is help me have a more broad understanding of what it means to be human, of people with all kinds of disabilities and all the different types of needs that we might have to advocate for in order for those needs to be met. It has also pushed me to try and figure out how to do things on my own in ways that they might have not been done before, like the different types of accommodations that I know I need on a daily basis because I can't really be standing for too long. How to make my bed, for example, when the quote unquote right way to make a bed for me in my mind was always to be standing up, to fold the blanket a certain way, and that kind of stuff. I've learned to adjust as life goes because of the fact that I've always had to adjust things to my disability in specific, and that has helped me in also seeing ways in which things can be adjusted for others to make their lives easier. And in the bad part, I feel like this one is obvious. Not many opportunities are given to people with disabilities as much as they are for able-bodied people. There is a lot of prejudice still. There is a lot of spaces that need to be adjusted in order to be disabled friendly, and the way that the world operates clearly doesn't have us disabled people in mind, and it shows and it sucks. So we have to make our own way, and that just feels like we have to, at least for me, like we have to jump through hoops a lot more than someone who's quote unquote normal would have to in order to get a job, get a romantic partner, be able to lead a hassle free life. And may I remind everybody that anybody can become disabled at any point of their life, which is a big part of why this bothers me so much. Number 5, do you ever think about what your life would be like without cerebral palsy? All of the time. I wish this wasn't the case, but all of the time I imagine scenarios in which would I have gotten this job if I wasn't disabled? Would I have been able to do this if I didn't have cerebral palsy? Um, where would I be now in life if I didn't have it? Would my life be better? That kind of thing. And I am trying to make it be a less often occurrence nowadays, but it's hard. 6, how was schooling with cerebral palsy? In hindsight, it went better than what it could have because uh, thankfully I have always had a very supportive family that ever since I was little, taught me to make my own way if there isn't one, to sort of advocate for myself and try and defend myself and speak up. It was bothersome because of the architectural difficulties that were in my way in terms of moving and going from class to class. There was a time in which I had to fight with one of the principals at my school to let me go outside during lunchtime and be with my friends because they wanted to confine all of the disabled students in the library at lunchtime for our safety and our concern and whatnot. And that was a period in my life in which I just wasn't having it and wanted to cause trouble. um, Outside of that, it went pretty smoothly, I guess. I liked school for the most part. I was very good at most of the subjects. Hated PE with a passion because it just felt embarrassing to move my body in any capacity, and all the students would be looking at me. I did suffer from bullying, but most of the time, those bullies would end up, leaving me alone. Having studied in Puerto Rico for my entire life, thankfully the bullying wasn't as intense as it could have been if I studied in the United States, and I will eternally be grateful for that. Very involved in a lot of school activities, so I'm just really, really happy that I was not homeschooled. 7, how has your disability changed throughout your life? I feel like I had better movement when I was a kid. Um, I feel like I need more help now. Um, Something that I have noticed lately, there's a lot of co-occurring ailments and disabilities that could come about from having cerebral palsy. One of them is carpal tunnel, which I'm pretty sure I have and haven't really gotten properly checked up yet. So that has affected me greatly because I love to write. I used to draw all of the time, but now just my hands hurt a lot very often, and so I've had to sort of stop doing that as much. When it comes to walking, I feel like I need assistive devices pretty much all of the time unless I'm at my house. Assistive devices being wheelchair, crutches, walker, etc. In my case, I use walkers and wheelchairs, and for taking a shower, for example, I used to be able to take a shower standing up. I can't do that anymore. I have to be sitting down. So there has been more challenges as I grow older. But it confuses me because cerebral palsy is defined as something that is non-progressive, but I feel like it has kind of gotten worse the older that I get. Um, so I don't really understand that part yet. But I can still walk. There is cases of people with cerebral palsy who have been able to walk when they're kids, and once they reach adulthood, they just stop walking. I can still walk. I have been getting a lot more hip and back pains lately. So there's that. 8. How do you think that things will change for people with disabilities? As it stands right now, things have gotten so much better, I feel like, in terms of having more spaces in which disabled people can just be. There is still a lot of room to grow and get rid of prejudices. Along with that, more and more often I've been able to see more disabled people out and about on their own and be more independent and get a little bit more help. So that makes me be hopeful for the future, and the fact that people will become more understanding of those with disabilities and treat us like you would just any other person to a certain extent, having in mind that sure we want to be treated as normal as possible, but we are different and those differences need to be kept in mind in order for us to lead fulfilling lives, because the system has always kind of left us behind a bit. So it would be nice to continue seeing this community grow and more people speaking about it and being curious about it and asking and just being open-minded, not just judging a book by its cover and come say hi. I don't bite. So I still get a lot of stares though whenever I go out or I am with my friends, as if people don't really expect me to act like any other person in their 20s would. Okay, so number 9 is kind of two questions, and it's, do you believe in God? And if you do, or if you don't, how does that help you in dealing with your cerebral palsy? In my case, I do believe in God. I am a Jehovah's Witness, and I feel like studying the Bible in my teenage years definitely helped me a lot in understanding that this disability I have isn't a punishment from God by any means. It is just a side effect of being an imperfect human, and of shitty things just happening to people. It doesn't mean that he loves me less. It doesn't mean that I have to pay my dues and suffer in this life by having this disability. It's just something that happens. That has helped me deal with my cerebral palsy and just taking away this weird guilt that I always felt ever since I was a little kid, that everything in my parents' life that went wrong was my fault. I internalized it because of how I saw that people at the time where I was a little kid saw people with disabilities as just a nuisance. And so I just kind of internalized that too. And I'm working to dismantle it within myself. And the last question, number 10, says, if there was a pill or cure for cerebral palsy, would you take it? See, now this is a trick question, I feel like, and the answer for this changes all of the time within my head, because Some days I wake up and I just want it all to go away and for me to be able to move without feeling pain or getting tired so easily. Other days it's just like, yeah, I can manage this, and it's okay that I have it and that I could help somebody who doesn't have it understand it better and kind of get rid of their biases. But as it stands right now, I don't think I would take it. Like, if man, if I get to keep being who I have always been up to this point and just take my disability away, maybe there's a day in which I would take it when I'm just not in the mood to deal with it. But if taking my cerebral palsy away would mean changing my life completely, would mean not knowing the people who I know now, not having the life experiences that I have, then I wouldn't take it. But that is it for this tag. I hope you guys enjoyed getting to know about my disability and how it affects me personally and my experiences. You guys will soon get a little bit more of that in greater detail regarding different subjects in the CP Talks series that I'm planning to do in the near future. For now, if you have any questions regarding my disability or just want to say hi or anything else, be sure to leave them down in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching until the end, and I will talk to you all relatively soon. Bye.